Welcome to the ultimate guide to PMDD, premenstrual dysphoric disorder, something which so many of us experience and very few of us realize was the problem, realize what was going on. I noticed throughout my own experience of PMDD, which I've since cleared when I was age 23, I have noticed that we are not educated on anything to do with PMDD. And so I made it my mission, my obsession, my literal reason for existing for such a long time to go, right, not only am I going to clear this for myself, I'm going to understand this, I'm going to see where it's come from, and I'm going to find a way to help other people, other cyclical beings who also experience PMDD, how to make our way out of that. My intention for this is for it to be very empowering. You are going to get a sense of control and influence over the reaction that's manifesting in the form of PMDD that you are currently probably surviving. For me, I found that PMDD gave me so much after it had taken away and distracted and destroyed so much in my life. It really was like this hammer of fire that came into my life every single month, waiting to be understood, waiting to be acknowledged, waiting to be listened to and responded to. And the years I didn't know what was going on, the destruction happened. But the moment that I turned around and was like, why is this happening? Where is this coming from? What is it trying to do? That is the point in which that hammer was stopped midair. I was like, nah, why are you here? What do you want from me? What are you trying to achieve? And I started to work with the PMDD. And at that point, everything changed. The moment where I stopped seeing, viewing, understanding, believing what PMDD was. And I was like, right, okay, this is a part of me. This is something that's happening. What kind of role do I have to play in this horrible experience that's happening? So before we begin our deep dive, I want to acknowledge the pain, the discomfort, the rage, the indifference, the all over the place experience that you are moving through with PMDD. It is, I truly believe, a crime that it's not talked about. I feel a PMDD level of rage about the way that PMDD is approached or not approached or ignored or not taken seriously. And a huge revolution in the way that we approach PMDD is needed. A huge approach for how we approach health in general is needed. But there are people like me and people like you who have that interest, and we have that audacity to go, right, that's enough now. I'm going to find another way. If my mainstream healthcare practitioner isn't going to provide me those answers, well, let me go and find them, because who am I not to do that? We have, and I know this, we have so many dreams, we have so many ideas, we have so much that we want to be bringing into the world. But when we're only functioning for half of every cycle, half of every month, depending on how long your cycle is, how are we going to do that? If we're building up our lives one half of the cycle and destroying it the next, how are we going to ever escape that loop if we are either just taking a pill and getting rid of the problem, understanding that yes, we're in seasons where that is the option and that is the accessible option. But you and me both know that you're here today because you're going, all right, that season's done. It's taken me as far as it can. I want to go deeper. I want to see why this is happening. I'm going to explore. So let's explore. My PMDD experience began when I was 13 years old. I started my period when I was 13 and a half. I didn't feel really comfortable talking about my period. I didn't have a relationship with my cycle for a very long time. So when my period did start, I didn't tell anyone. I knew what I needed to do, but there wasn't an emotional support system around that experience. Now, I grew up in a culture. I think the context is important just so you know that I'm the woman to guide you on this one. Because if I was here like, yeah, so I've heard it's a thing, here are my ideas. I'm sorry. This is the deep dive, but I'm going to keep it concise. The key points. Didn't have a relationship with myself or my cycle. I felt shame around my cycle. I didn't talk about my health, my mental health, especially. I grew up in a day and age and era where you did not talk about your mental health. I remember when I was 11 years old seeing that Britney Spears had gone crazy and shaved her head, and I saw how the world responded to her. She was ostracized. She was shamed. The objective truth of what we understand happened, she was pushed over the edge. She was having a natural reaction to an unnatural way of being, because So much of what I teach and the basis that I work from is that whether it's a sneeze, a cough, an orgasm, PMDD, depression, anxiety, these are all feelings that we are experiencing. The reaction is here, and we're going to find the root cause. And what's interesting is a holistic approach, the whole body approach to health is growing in notoriety and people who are engaging in it. The holistic approach to health is the oldest form of healthcare, while the modern Western system of medicine is only a couple of 100 years old, if that. We've been doing healthcare for a long time. You know, human beings have been surviving for a while. Not that we need a history lesson right now, but I think it's important to keep that in mind, that a lot of what I'm teaching are old, ancient, very important practices that have supported and nurtured and kept people with wombs, cyclical being, alive and thriving for such a long time. And it's only in recent times that experiences such as PMDD, depression, anxiety, have become more rife. And yes, we do now have more language for these experiences. Like, it's always been around, but it is growing. These chronic conditions are growing and growing and growing and growing as we are moving further and further away from nurturing, honoring, listening into our bodies. Again, acknowledging that interoception, that ability to touch, to check in, to touch in with our bodies. That's not always available for everyone. So with this, my intention is to keep this accessible to as many people as possible while delving in deep, while getting into those nuanced pieces that a lot of people miss, acknowledging the link between ADHD and PMDD. But again, we're working on nourishing all of these aspects of myself, clearing out what's not relevant anymore, tuning, checking in, because we get to do this, which I think is so cool. So growing up, we don't talk about mental health. It's embarrassing, it's shameful, we don't discuss this. So when I started to feel hellish from day one of being a menstruator, someone with a cycle, I just thought it was like the teenage experience. I presumed that everyone else felt this way. I had a lot of what I now understand like neurodivergent friends growing up, almost entirely. So all of us were experiencing these highs and these lows, these deep, dark moods. It was normal to us, but it was more the case that it was common, not normal. Like PMDD is not normal. It's becoming normalized because it's more common, but it's not the body's natural way of being. The body's natural way of being is in balance, of being in flow, of being supported and nurtured. So when these symptoms show up, then it's time to listen in. What are you trying to communicate with me? What's come out of balance? What's seeking that support? What can I do to sort out this situation? So what happens next? Where do we go next? I was living in years and years of inaction in terms of seeking support and help for what I now understand was PMDD. So every month, it'd be the week before my period, I couldn't concentrate. Straight up, was hugely into self-harm for so long. I was very dysregulated, very antsy, very it was awful. And I did not feel like I could speak to anyone. I had not been empowered to believe that the answers were within me. I really, truly believed that the answers were going to be from somewhere else, which is interesting because I did not have the capacity or the capability to ask for help. So the PMDD cycle every single month coming up. I learn about PMS. I'm like, yeah, like maybe that's me, but I think everyone experiences this. Like I had no connection with my cycle. Periods were embarrassing and shameful. Mental health, embarrassing and shameful, and which is classic because these are the two areas of my life that were impacted the most ferociously. They were the two biggest, like, out of anything in my life. And it was vicious and it was brutal. I was not okay. Still not asking for help. At the age of 17, I reached the tipping point. Finally asked for help. I am misdiagnosed with bipolar 2. I'm heavily medicated, very common misdiagnosis for people who experience ADHD, autism, and PMDD, the holy trifecta. We're going to talk about this more as we get further in. At no point either in any of the diagnostic like journey did anyone go, oh, like your cycle, what's going on with that? No one thought, that's like, explore her little endocrine system over here. no, no, no. And I was really in what it's savage to say about a 17-year-old, but I was in like that victim mindset. I can't do anything. Someone else needs to give me the answer. The doctor holds the keys. Only pills will save me. I believed that I had a chemical imbalance, a theory that was never true, but highly popularized and pushed, and I think dangerous because chemical imbalance. Oh, I don't know what to do about that. Well, I guess if it's a chemical imbalance, there's nothing I can do. My level of agency, impact, and power was non existent. So life gets weird. We start smoking weed. We get in the abusive relationship. We're working just in a weird way. I don't trust anyone, and I didn't trust myself. I'm still looking outside of me for the answer because I'm broken. I was the problem. Just disdain. I'd look in the mirror and be like, and I'm constantly stoned, so I would just not have to deal with any of it. Like weed is the answer, and it's like, okay, it's the mega plaster, high absorbency, high masking, but this is not nurturing you. Nothing's working. Nightmare. We then get to 23 years old. It's lockdown. My life is an interesting place to be in, and I am scrolling Instagram. You might have heard of PMDD. And at this point, I was open and I was ready. My life does not work. It was crunch time. This sucks. I don't think I can do this anymore. You know, when you're younger, like you're suicidal, but there's like a bit of fire and rage behind it. It's like rage-cidal. I just wasn't interested anymore. I cannot fathom existing like this every month until the end of time. All I wanted was a hysterectomy, a chemical menopause, because that's the only solution that I had been pitched at that point after discovering PMDD was a thing. That was the only solution that was presented to me. And I'd be angry. I'd be like, oh, why won't they give me a hysterectomy? I know I don't want kids. Again, that rage and that, why does the world hate me so much? It was awful. And I think from this backstory, you can kind of see how I then came into this point of like, I'm the doctor now. Obviously a joke. If you're not going to give me the answers, I'm going to find them. So I discover PMDD. I'm like, oh my God, this is me. To my boyfriend at the time, I'm like, do you think this is me? And he's like, yeah, it's not my abuse. That's you. And I was like, I need to fix this because I cannot do this forever. Oh my God. I begin my little deep dive. A couple of years earlier, I think when I was 19, I had that first dark night of the soul where you start to really look at how the world works. You begin to understand and look into the medical system and the systems which like are the pillars of how our Western world works. I'd already been cracked open. Like I was ready to be open to other ways of approaching the world and approaching my health. I'd already had that, that deep dive of like, oh, let me look at how the Western medical system was born. Okay, it came from oil money, like the Rockefellers and JP Morgan, right? Because they had excess oil, they needed to make petrochemical oil products because that's going to be an amazing way to use the excess oil. Now let's start to defund every other form of medicine and other medical schools and these two huge corporations. Let's funnel all the money into the schools, the medical schools that are going to teach our product. And I hope it's okay to just give like a quick synopsis because that you can go and do like your own research on this one. And I don't want this to become some like energy. We are here for solutions. We're here to objectively see and understand the context of why no one knows what PMDD is, it seems, and why the solutions are only known by a small group of people. Why is that? So the schools of thought, the schools of medicine, which once you'd have gone to them going, I'm feeling this extreme rage, I feel all over the place through this one half of my cycle, you'd have had the medicine woman, you'd have had the herbalist who understood the hormonal system, the womb-centered body, and they'd have gone, okay, I'm going to move you through this. We understand that something is keeping you sick and stuck, and let's go. Instead, there was none of that. And it was, you're hysterical. Like, are you sure you're not making up? Everyone has PMDD. Everyone has period pain. It's just normal. It's not normal. It is not normal for the body to experience these things. It is very common, increasingly common. Let's bring it back down. Let's take a double breath in. And when you're ready, We're 23. We've just discovered PMDD. And I'm going, that's it. I'm going to get some answers. What mobilized me to do this was because I wanted to be a better girlfriend and I didn't want to die anymore. One of those I'm more embarrassed about than the other. However, I think it is important to recognize that whatever mobilizes us is okay. We do not have to have a noble, honorable starting point. Like, I genuinely wanted my horrible boyfriend to like me more because I have been gaslit to believe that I was the problem. Look at me holding my hand. And also, I think a big part of what mobilized me, I am, as we've heard, like, I'm a creative person. At the time, I was on year 5 of my embroidery business, which is very labor intensive. It's not the version where you press a button, like you're in it, you're creating it. And I wanted to show up for my business and I couldn't because I was in pain, emotional pain, distress every month. When we're trying to do launches every month for our business, when we're trying to upkeep client communication and showing up and being present and on it, very difficult when the PMDD reaction is taking place every single cycle. Where did we go next? To Google. I was hitting WebMD, I was hitting forums, I was hitting the Facebook groups. Not cool, not trendy, but there's a whole wealth of information or starting points to pick at and discern what feels relevant to me. And I promise that in this story, like, these are the seeds of what we're moving towards. We need the context. I feel it needs the context, because if I just say to you what I want to say to you with no context, go on to the world's #1 bookseller, type in PMDD. I buy every book there is. I went all in. And there was one book called Womb Awakening. With me, if I judge or dislike anything, that's a sign that I need to go there. That's activating me. That's triggering something in me that's asking to be looked at. In the pilot go, I found it so cringy. I found self-help cringy. I found coaching cringy. Therapy, like, all of it I found cringy. The fact that I do this as a job now is slightly hilarious given where I came from. But it also makes sense because I know what it's like to think it's not accessible to us, to think we're going to be sick, sad, and stuck forever. But it doesn't have to be. And that's the crucial bit. Is there another way? Let's go find it together. Being so raw, ruthless search for truth, search for change. And not from that place like, oh, I'm less than, I'm rubbish, I have to change who I am because then I'll have more value, more. I have so much value that I deserve more. I deserve different. And I'm allowed to explore and expand my experience of my life. Let's continue with the tale. This book, Womb Awakening, reading it. The first page of this book that I read, and this is leaning into like how PMDD became the initiation of my life, like the greatest thing that happened to me. I say with a straight face, the audacity, but you can be this audacious too. Let's keep going. Open this book, first page. This is all about trickster energy. You're likely to be someone that in your life you invite in trickster energy. Like, they seem really fun, they seem really uplifting, but this person is bad for you and you know it. And I was literally there like, how do you know this about me? What the fuck? And it's like this 500-page tome by Sarah Bertrand, Womb Awakening by Sarah Bertrand. I thought this book was going to be about PMDD and why you're talking about tricksters, what's going on here. Start flicking through the book and it's talking about relationships, connection to self, the cosmic universe, children, love, menstruation, our different grail gates within our womb space and surrounding areas. So deep. I'm very emotionally driven and I was in that emotional state of desperation but acute curiosity and interest. Fascinating to go through this book and to begin to learn and understand the depth that our womb space, our cervix, our uterus, the depth that this space holds. Just a quick example being, oh yeah, I had a gut feeling. What do people gesture to when they say they have a gut feeling? It's always their womb space. Our gut is like up here. No one's going, my gut feeling. It's your womb space or your hara if you're someone without a womb. We all come from the womb. We spend 9 months in the womb. We all have the energetic imprint of that womb energy. And I was hooked. My obsessive brain was like, I want to learn everything about this. I signed up to a 9-month apprenticeship. I bought more books. I was obsessed with this womb awakening aspect, which is fascinating because I'd gone from this space of I'm broken. The PMDD is all in my brain. It's a chemical imbalance that I have no influence over. I was very passive to, okay, the PMDD, I'm experiencing this. It's not my PMDD anymore. I think that's the first crucial reframe. It's the PMDD. The reason for this is when something's mine, I'm taking ownership of it. When something's mine, it's close to me. However, when it's the PMDD that I'm experiencing, there's space here. There's space between the PMDD reaction that I'm experiencing, the PMDD reaction I'm experiencing, and me. There is room. And what we can do within this space is begin to objectively, with so much curiosity, begin to delve in and explore, why is this happening? Where is this coming from? What is this trying to serve? What's it trying to do for me? What is the PMDD trying to achieve for me? And because we've got that space, what's happening when we're experiencing that PMDD reaction is less about us, the PMDD space. And within this space, so much connection and grounding and centering and re-meeting with ourselves becomes possible. And I think that is one of the core foundations of any PMDD journey, working through the PMDD, making that reaction eventually redundant. And this, the smile is because it's possible. I think with all of our PMDD journeys, it gets to take as long or as little time as we want to. So my clients come to me and we clear it within 1 to 3 sessions. Each session, we have an intake, we do a PTSD clear within that intake as well. Then we have your full RTT session, your rapid transformational therapy session. That is around 3.25 hours. A lot of clients clear it within that 3.25 hours. Other people need 1 to 3 sessions. It's done. It's up to you. No one is here going, oh, there could be a solution, like you have to do it now. It's up to you how you want to meet with your body, journey with your body, and discover the lessons that are in the PMDD reaction that you're experiencing. So the main lessons that my experience of PMDD taught me: self-connection. It taught me how to connect with myself. That was a core way out. It gave me the gift of connecting to my subconscious mind in a really active, influential way, and not just like being put into trance by the outside world around me every time I go on my phone, watch TV, watch adverts, etc. So it gave me the self-connection piece. PMDD guided me towards, maybe it's the better, see how clear I am on language though, because the language we use has so much impact. So PMDD guided me towards meeting with my mind, learning subconscious support, understanding how to dialogue with myself, how to meet with my mind to create the sense of safety and connection and consistency. I show up for myself now. As you can hear from the story time, that did not take place before. PMDD also guided me towards deep womb work, how to meditate with my womb space, how to meditate in the first place. I definitely was that girl who was like, no, I can't concentrate on anything. I didn't realize it was ADHD. How on earth am I going to meditate? Whereas really, meditation is such an immersive, fascinating experience that it's not this thing of like, I'm going to sit and be clear in my mind. Let's see what's going on. Let's get into a really relaxed and focused state and journey with that. So many insights are available in that space of acute focus and deep relaxation. Again, I educate, I teach, I offer those experiences. Because of course I do. How do you gain these experiences and not want to be like, I'm going to tell the world now? Joe, what happened next? Jump to the chaser. Like, where did the clearing of the PMDD happen for you? I'm on Google. I'm learning. I've joined up with this womb awakening apprenticeship. I'm learning more about the body, the womb-centered body, how to meet with myself, how to hold space for myself, how to really value and show up for myself. I'm recalibrating everything I thought that human beings needed to do to feel well. Googling away, suddenly RTT PMDD. Very skeptical. Rapid transformational therapy. Curiosity, letting that curiosity lead. There's a feeling that's come up. Bit of disdain, won't lie to you. Let's see what this is about. And there was this woman. I can heal PMDD. And I was like, that's a bold statement. What are you talking about? And there's that defense piece. No, you can't. PMDD is permanent. The only thing you can do is take the pill or have a hysterectomy. Who are you to say this? Like, a really aggressive. Book a call with this woman. And she's like, here's what we do. Here's what I offer. Here's how it works. And I was like, all right. I didn't like her vibe. I'll be honest. Lovely person. I just didn't feel aligned with it. So I was like, okay, this is interesting. But what I was beginning to understand was that instead of being a permanent disorder all tied up in hormones and your body can't process certain hormones, it goes deeper than that. There's something that's causing, there's a lot of hypotheses around PMDD. The science is great. The science is important. Charities like PMD, which are funding research in super Western, super cognitive only intellectualization of PMDD. They're important. People feel safe. A lot of people need that approach to their medicine. Cool. Brilliant. This approach, while backed by science, it's working with your feelings. And that's what I was beginning to learn about this RTT, about this rapid transformational therapy as a solution for what's been labeled PMDD. Start looking into it further, and it's going, right, while there is a physical manifestation that's showing up as PMDD, there's an emotional root cause. And by working with your subconscious mind, 93% of our functions, thoughts, feelings, experiences of this life influenced, controlled by our subconscious mind. And we've been led to believe that the subconscious, the unconscious, it's the bottom of the iceberg. Mystery. That's to keep us down here. The subconscious mind is ours to access. It is incredibly literal. It loves being told what to do. However, the caveat is because it's always recording, and through the mechanism of the subconscious mind always wants to move us from pain towards pleasure. The point of this is years and years and years and years of emotions, our reactions then, and how the subconscious mind is trying to support us to keep us safe, to protect us and keep us alive. Reactions it's choosing is based on things that maybe you experienced when you were 3 or maybe when you were 4. You know, you meet adults and you're like, oh, you're so immature, because their subconscious mind is still operating on the same programming that it came up with, that it was influenced to calibrate when they were 4 years old or 7 years old or 15 years old. It's so exciting. So by engaging with this realm, we can go, right, hello, first of all, thank you for trying to do what you're trying to do. This isn't relevant anymore. This is out of alignment. I'm no longer 7 years old, 3 years old, 15 years old. I'm now operating over here as a 26, 32, 45-year-old. I don't need to do this anymore. And the subconscious mind's not like us. It operates through feelings, but it's very objective. It's literally going to be like, yeah, all right, cool, let's change it. Glad to meet you properly. Like I've had your back for a while. Thanks for checking in, because I love direction. I love suggestion. I love recalibration. Like I love it when you meet with me and we get into alignment and we make it happen, because I'm on your side. I'm literally here to keep you alive. Like your subconscious mind is operating your heart rate. It's operating your sweat gland. It is keeping us here right now. Like my subconscious mind is holding down the fort so that my cognitive mind can speak to you and deliver this message, these solutions, and these potential outcomes that are available to you today, right now. How cool is that? So I then signed up for this rapid transformational therapy. I'm all in. I was desperate enough that I'd even try to work with myself. I think beforehand I'd worked with a herbalist. I think I'd seen a nutritionist. Things were kind of improving, but not that much. And that's a very common theme. We will call in the experts, and these are all really important pieces of the puzzle, but the foundation of everything is the way that our subconscious mind is acting and reacting. That is the core foundation. Even if I had been eating I wasn't, don't get me wrong, but even if I had been eating perfectly, my subconscious mind believing what it believed at the time that I'm about to share with you, so interesting, was taking away from those more external inputs that I was adjusting, tweaking, and bringing more into alignment with what I needed. So all of these things are very important, but the subconscious piece, I believe, is number one. It's deciding how we react to things, which is fascinating. Sign up for the RTT session. I show up, I don't know what's about to happen, but I'm all in. I tell her everything she needs to know. I tell her about my history, my situation, what I want. And that really interested me because it's the first time that a mental health professional had gone, what do you want? What are you moving towards? And at the time, I was living solely in the past. I wasn't thinking about the future. The way that PMDD and this bipolar misdiagnosis had been presented to me made me be the lie that there was no future. This was it. It was going to be painful, difficult, and depressed forever. I don't really care about the future. But what's interesting is I clearly cared about my everyday at the time. I clearly did not like the fact that my everyday existence was so painful. And there was an objective part of me at all times that was like, it shouldn't be like this. Why is my life? Why do I feel like? Why am I reacting in this way? And again, I think the reaction piece was floating around, but I wasn't in the place to go, it's depression, anxiety, PMDD, they're all reactions. What do you want? What do you want to move towards? I didn't know what I wanted. And it felt uncomfortable to answer. I was like, I can't want things. We go in, I'm being taken back to scenes in my life where the PMDD began. My subconscious mind is guiding me very viscerally to where the PMDD originated. And what I found really interesting was that while I was in the memories, my nervous system wasn't activated. I wasn't having those rushes of emotion that you have in real time. We're going through these memories, and all of the memories center around me being a child who cannot use her voice, because when I do use my voice and when I did express myself, punishment would ensue. I would be isolated, I would be locked away, I would be separated from my family. The worst thing to do to a child, in hindsight, because children need to feel like they belong, they need to feel safe, they need to feel supported. It is a core human need, and we have that core human need throughout our whole life. And I think we're conditioned to pretend otherwise, but we all need to feel seen, to feel heard, to feel like we're part of something, because we are primal beings. That's how we have evolved, to live in packs, to live in a tribal way of you're surrounded by your peers. Because I want this for you. I'll be so bold. I am so fascinated and dedicated to clearing PMDD from other people's experiences, should that be what they want to do. To be the person who can go, all right, come on then. When someone raises their head, raises their hand and goes, I don't want to feel this way anymore. I want to understand why this is happening, and I want a way through this. Yeah, hi. Let's go. Like, this process, it's not just for PMDD. If you experience anxiety, depression, extreme phobias, light phobias, discomfort, you don't believe in yourself, there's no love, there's a connection. If you are stuck anywhere in your life, through working with your subconscious mind, you can identify where you got stuck, why you got stuck, what your subconscious thinks is benefiting you from being stuck with this problem, with this issue, and working with your mind to release the grip on this reaction and begin to upgrade and realign it into something that serves you, something that's positive. So, to finish the tale, through RTT, I learned and I was given the insight and the understanding that I was experiencing PMDD because my subconscious mind was trying to get my emotional needs met. My subconscious mind was going, okay, understood that your childhood time, anytime you're upset, you got locked away, but you need to be heard. You need people to pay attention to the pain that you're in. You need people to see, hear, and understand what you need so that you can survive, because I think you're 3 years old still, because the subconscious mind doesn't know that we've got older. It's like, we're 3. You're like, I'm not 3, mate. But until we tell it, it doesn't know. What the subconscious mind is going to do for you, Joe, is I'm going to make you so unstable, so expressionful, I'm going to make you so wild that people are going to have to pay attention. They are not going to have the option of shutting you in the room anymore, because we're going to be in such a state, a way of being, that they're going to go, okay, I'm going to have to pay attention to her now. And I was like, what? And that came from being locked in the room, being silenced, and having other people like within close proximity growing up who, when they displayed huge fireworks displays of reaction and emotion and rage and sobbing and tantrums every time an adult was there, tending to their needs, listening to them. Everything else pauses, it stops. This person received what they needed. My subconscious mind, which is always recording, noting down, when this happens, people react this way. I want that noted. We'll do that in the future. Ooh, when that person is really quiet and subdued, people react this way. I didn't really want that. So, oh, when that person is like ill loads of the time, people respond this way. When we have that need that needs to be met in the future, I'll do that too. Very literal, but very clever and very impactful. The language of the subconscious mind is feeling. So you might notice those times in your life where you felt those heightened emotions, you remember it. Or we remember when we were acutely depressed. And we remember that so clearly because, again, that's the language of our subconscious. So it communicates with us through feelings, through expressions, through reaction. Then through the therapy session, so you go in, you investigate, you gain insight, and you're looking at the patterns between these scenes. What feelings are driving this? Why is your subconscious mind doing this? Well, it's trying to get my emotional needs met. Okay, perfect. And then through the session, you're instructed to find where the PMDD, for example, is within your body. And because you're in that state of hyper interoception, hyper connection, your conscious mind is asleep. Your subconscious mind is fully online. So you've got access to the 93%, like you're in it to win it. You're checking out what's going on. And because you have that expanded, truly like that open mind, and again, you're safe, you're supported, you're being guided through, you've got the ability to go, okay, this is where the PMDD is in my body. This is what it's trying to do for me. It's trying to keep me safe. It's trying to protect me. It's trying to get my voice heard. Okay, cool. And then you have this crystal clear understanding. I think as well, you go from having disdain and disgust and disappointment in the PMDD that you experience to compassion, to, I've got to understand what you're trying to do. It's kind of nice of you. I hate the way you did it, don't get me wrong, but that's very interesting. So moving through. Is this reaction relevant to you anymore? No, to be honest, it's not. How do you want to be instead? Well, I want to feel like I can express myself. I want to be able to show up for my emotional needs. I want to have the language to express what I want, what I need, and have like the nuance and the ability to get that for myself. Or if I need to, ask someone else to support me in accessing and achieving that support. Because the subconscious mind is very literal and it loves suggestion, you can compel, command, instruct your subconscious mind to release that reaction. And through your understanding of why it's happening, you're essentially neutralizing the purpose of that reaction. You're making the reaction of the PMDD irrelevant because you're meeting that need here. It's happening within you. You don't need that external reaction to take place because you're getting it done. And one of the ways this works is because your subconscious mind is very literal and it only knows right now. That's why when you're like doing affirmations, you say it in the now. This is happening right now. This is who I am right now. There's no point saying it in the future because your subconscious is like, oh, that is my, I'm only doing right now. So the PMDD is cleared, it is gone, and I'm showing up for myself. I'm loving myself. I'm paying attention to myself. And you're making that sensation familiar. Our mind works that it wants to work with what's familiar because familiar is safe, trusted. It's going to keep us alive. Familiar, danger. I don't know what that's going to do. Subconscious mind, I'm here to keep you alive. Let's stay with what's familiar. So by speaking it through feeling it in that expanded state, you are coding in, wiring in, making these feelings that you've always wanted to experience, you're making them familiar so that your subconscious mind in that moment of, oh, they need something. What do they need? They need love. They need compassion, connection, feeling safe, feeling supported. This is what's familiar. This is what we like. Whereas so many of us right now who are watching this, what's familiar is disdain, discomfort, disconnection, distrust, dysphoria, the opposite of euphoria, as we know. So you're moving yourself here This is what we're moving towards. I love my body and I feel neutral saying that. And that's beautiful. And we're allowed to do this. We're allowed to love ourselves. We're allowed to connect in with our bodies, to feel the power of our womb spaces, to make our womb spaces one with ourselves. And that's here for us and it's waiting for us. And that reaction of love, compassion, and inclusion is all it is a subconscious rewire away, which is so cool. We are allowed to bring it into the now, and our subconscious mind is going to move you towards it. The subconscious mind, this is so cool, it can only hold one belief in the mind at once. So you either have PMDD or you don't. You either love yourself or you don't. It doesn't do both. So it's often the case that when we hold conflicting beliefs of, yeah, like I definitely love myself, but then we go home and behind closed doors, we're engaging in behaviors which are not loving and kind and compassionate. One of the reasons why that feels so and like you're being pulled in both directions is because your subconscious mind is going, mate, what do I do with this? I need things to be streamlined, to make sense, to be concise. What is this? So I think that's a really important part, that when we engage in the rapid transformational process, we are all in and we allow ourselves to go, right, I'm going to be 100% in. I'm going to commit to this process. What I discover through my session, the needs that I discover that I'm trying to meet, the beliefs that I'm understanding are aligned with me. I'm going to call them in. I'm going to write them on mirrors. I'm going to write them in my phone. I'm going to have like, I was about to say I was going to like email them to myself, but I'm going to, what I have recognized I want to move towards, I'm going to let that in. I'm going to allow myself to bathe in these feelings, to listen to my transformational recordio that all of my clients get at the end of our session. I'm going to listen. I'm going to commit. I'm going to show up, not because I have to, not because I have to do this, because I want to. And your subconscious mind, your whole body, because this is all one system, all connected. Let's acknowledge when we first hear that, overwhelming, what do you mean? But actually, oh, thank God, everything's got simplified. So I've had a client literally last week message me and she was going, we'd done a session on PMDD together. This was one of my favorite sessions ever because she was ready. There was no, do you think this will work? She's like, no, like I'm in this to win this. Like I'm ready. Like, let's do this. Which like that level of self-leadership is commendable because I wasn't there when I came in. I was very much like to my first RTT therapist, like, is this going to work? It's like, what I feel is so intense. I cannot imagine a life otherwise. But she was like, let's do this. We're ready. So we do the session. It was all in. It was intense. We were really working through like the grit and we did it. And we worked through the identifying, we worked through the why this is happening, what it's trying to do and where we're moving towards, and we're clearing and we're getting rid of what's not relevant and we're moving towards what we want. She was saying that before our appointment, she'd booked to have a hysterectomy because again, that's what's sold, what's told as, yeah, that's what we can do. If your PMDD is so extreme and antidepressants and anti-birth control doesn't work, we could like put you on HRT, see what that does, but like if that doesn't work, then like this. So it's not offered readily, but like it's an option. So, and I think the objective truth of this is all of our physical reactions, all of our reality has that emotional root cause based in our subconscious mind. Our beliefs create our thoughts, which influence our feelings, which dictate our actions, and our actions each and every day are what make up our life. What I am doing today is the accumulation of all the decisions, the thoughts, the beliefs, the feelings that I've experienced in my life. That is what has got me here. Again, huge. But also when we bring it back to, it starts in the subconscious, simplified, accessible, cool, because we can rewrite, we can rewire, we can literally neutralize the emotional responses that we are currently experiencing. We can neutralize the emotional experiences to the memories that are held in our subconscious mind. So you can't delete emotions, dangerous, because your mind's going to replace your genuine memory with something else. So you can't delete memories, but we can reset and rewire the emotional responses that are currently saved with the memory. Cool. She messages me, before we worked together, I had booked to have a hysterectomy. Like that was on the cards, we're exploring it. And through that process, they'd done a scan of her womb space, and on her ovaries were cysts. Common, not normal. And she also found that her testosterone levels were 3 times what they should be. We do the session. It's honestly amazing. And it was beautiful. So powerful, all in, let's do this. Messages me a month later, because we do your intake, we do the session, we then have a month where you're listening to your transformational audio, which is going to continue the results, continue the effect, continue that subconscious support through listening, through showing up every day, rewiring, recalibrating your mind towards what we've uncovered you need, want, and are generally moving towards. We meet up. How's it going? How are you feeling? She's shining. She's glowing. The shift has happened. Like, I had a meeting with the doctors. The cysts are gone. The testosterone levels are back where they objectively should be. I need to tell you something today, everyone watching this. At no point during our session did we discuss testosterone levels, or did we really go into the cysts. They were mentioned during the intake call, but during our session, the focus was the PMDD, because we focus on one thing per session. It can be the presenting problem or a feeling. My jaw honestly dropped, because I know the power of this work, but when it's doubly backed up by your client in front of you going yeah, did you know this? It's like, wow, how? And what's happened here is that while we were working on the PMDD, because we were exploring the emotions associated with the physical manifestation of the PMDD, the emotions that we'd worked on were also fueling, influencing, impacting other areas of her body, other bodily functions. There were other physical manifestations of the emotional root cause that was also creating the PMDD. It was also to do with, associated with the cysts. Wow. So by neutralizing that emotional root cause, not only had we had that benefit, but other arenas of her body had also up-leveled, upgraded, and those reactions were no longer relevant. We've nixed the root cause, the other physical reactions. They don't have a reason to be there anymore. Nothing's fueling them. We've taken the fire out from underneath them. They can leave, they can go now. Wow. Stories and experiences, lived proof of this is so impactful and so amazing and so wonderful, because we are constantly told in pop media, power of the mind, the mind's really powerful. But if you're anything like how I used to be, it's like, oh yeah, that's just something to say. I've intellectualized PMDD. I know exactly why it's happening. My body cannot convert the allopregnanolone into progesterone. So guess what? That's where this reaction is coming from, because I don't have any progesterone. Stories, the stories we've attached to the symptoms, to the situations, the stories that keep us sick and keep us stuck and help us to validate and stay within that story that we're living within. Fine, I've done it, you've done it. What's important here is that when that's no longer serving you, when it no longer feels relevant to you, when it's holding you back and keeping you stuck, I know how important for me it is to know, right, there's another option, there's another way, and this could be your other way. Let's circle back to our original intentions. I want you to understand what PMDD is, a reaction often fueled by a trauma response, and that's the trauma response coming up every single month. Nope, okay, let me crash, bang, smash a bunch of plates and cupboards. I'll be back next month to see. Now, we don't know this because we haven't learned the language of our physical symptoms. So many of us aren't aware that the body is communicating with us. The body's constantly giving us feedback in the form of energy levels, the way our skin is, the way that we are feeling in ourselves, our joint pain. We are constantly receiving feedback on our inputs and the impact that our inputs are having on the body. It's all day, every day. I think it's fascinating because that's something we can work with. That's something tangible. That's a language that we can learn to understand through meeting with our mind, through supporting our subconscious to go, okay, what are we trying to achieve? Where can we go with this? So you understand that PMDD is a reaction that we're experiencing. You understand, I hope, that there is an emotional root cause to the PMDD. And the womb space itself, inherently an emotional state. If you are in the throes of a PMDD episode, I'd lean over the kitchen counter and I just start shaking my hips, getting into the groove, moving and grooving. While hysterically crying, it was helping me transmute the energy in motion, the emotion, energy, emotion. Beautiful. It was helping me transmute and move and channel that out of my body, because so many of us have been led to believe, oh, if you're experiencing like something, just sit on it, just wait and it'll go. Doesn't work like that, my gorgeous friends. The way it works is that we experience emotion, we suppress it, and what is not expressed and suppressed is going to start manifesting as physical symptoms. It may be arthritis, it may be back pain, huge one. If you feel unsupported in your life and you have back pain, hand in hand. If you feel like you don't have any agency or you're going to be looked after in arthritis, if you're someone who has that feeling of, I wish that someone would support me and nourish me and maybe give me a hug, and you're experiencing eczema, could be linked. Because what happens when we experience eczema, you've got this really painful skin and you're applying lotion, you're being present, you're looking after yourself, and your subconscious is going, yes, she's paying attention, she's looking after herself, let's go. Could be. It's so individual and unique for so many of us, but it all comes back to the subconscious mind is creating these reactions because it's trying to protect us, to prioritize us, or to punish us, because some parts of our body thinks that we need to be punished. Again, hugely relate with that one. The way out of PMDD is choosing, exploring, being brave, audacious, and bold, and going, I'm going to find out why. I'm going to find different entry points to my subconscious mind to meet with my mind and meet with my body. Your subconscious, your heart, and your womb space. They're like a powerful trio. And when we work with each of them, we're gaining so much insight, so much depth, so much feeling. Move with heart. You've got that gut feeling like, what's going on here? These really deep places within us that offer so much. And when we're brave and we're bold and we go, do you know what? I'm going to move against what's been like, what information I've been prescribed and blithely tossed by a GP that doesn't really know what's going on. Each their own. I'm going to go in. I'm going to meet with myself. I'm going to discover. Our attention levels are dwindling at this point, I'm presuming, because I've really gone in deep on this one. She's gone in on the deep end. I'm going to record another one of these where we discuss what it means to be a cyclical being. Okay, I'm going to record multiple masterclasses on what it means to be a cyclical being and how post your experience with RTT, you're going to learn how to come into alignment with your experience as a cyclical being, how you can take your current lifestyle, your current way of living, and optimize it, expand it, upgrade it to serve and nourish you even more. I had a client today messaging me going, we've worked together before and we're going to work together again. She'll go even deeper in what's happening. She's going, shall I wait to do this with you? Because I don't really want to like tip my life up. I don't really want to like shake the boat too much. I've got a lot going on at the moment, which I think is an experience that so many of us have. Yeah, I want to change this. This isn't ideal, but I don't want to risk it getting any worse. And what I said to her was, completely hear you. The bonus is that we're not here to force you in a direction that doesn't feel aligned. What we're doing is bringing you back into even more connection with yourself. We're going to get you feeling even more focused, even more agile within your mind and your body, if that's what's needed. We're going to bring your life that you're living, it's going to become more accessible to you, because what we're doing is cleansing, clearing, deconstructing what's making your life more difficult. The places where you're stuck, we're going to meet with them. We're going to understand them, unfurl, untie, release, relax it. It's going, it's gone. Where were you when you realized that the PMDD is gone? Where were you when you realized what the PMDD was trying to do for you? And now you're doing it for yourself. You've already programmed in that you're going to meet that need. I need to spend time with myself. I'm going to do that. I need to feel more protected in the world. I feel protected within myself because I can protect myself. I need someone to look after me. I look after myself. And I'm learning and I feel confident in seeking the support that I need so that that community care aspect can come into play. So there's that. So we're going to be doing more masterclasses on post. I think it's going to be like PMDD clearing aftercare, how to come into alignment with being a cyclical being, how to optimize your experience of your cycle, how to navigate period pains, overwhelm. Maybe you find ovulation challenging. I certainly have within the past. It's go time. This is so clearly ready to be expressed in a really strong, powerful way. I think I've been pausing on these masterclasses because I've been wanting to deliver it from that place of power, and I'm there 10 times over now. I feel comfortable on this level, you know, like there's that initial edge of like, I know this is me, but it's new, it's familiar now. I can speak bravely and boldly and offer you a hand when you're ready to move through the PMDD experience. You've completed it. We know where it gets you, we know what it's doing. Where do we want to go next? And again, I offer coaching sessions so that if you're wondering, I don't really know what I want next, or like I kind of know, but it doesn't feel like it's accessible, like any sort of like this is where my coaching piece comes in. So we deliver, we explore, we achieve your RTT session or sessions depending on what's needed. And then we bring in the coaching piece. How do we move you forward even more powerfully with more strategy? How do we connect you in sooner and more efficiently to that future self? Who is that future self? I have all the tools, all of the insights, all of the pathways to create safety and clarity and connection to what it is that we're moving towards, while again connecting you in with who you are now, gaining that clarity in who you are right now. How does it feel to be in your body? What could really nurture and upgrade that experience for you? Where do we want to be moving towards? And how do we want to experience this expansion? There's so much that we can do. There's so much that we can achieve. And this, I really hope that you feel how PMDD can go from being the living nightmare to the opportunity to meet with yourself, to grow, to understand, to nurture, and to nourish ourselves, and for the PMDD to be get gone. So this has been brilliant. Thank you for resting with me, for allowing me to guide you through this process. Should you feel ready, should you be going, yeah, me please, let's do this, there is links hopefully in the description of this masterclass on my social media links, byjosephine.k. It's all there, it's all ready, it's all waiting for you. So get over to those links on my Calendly. We can book an initial intake form. We can have a chat. We can discuss. With the intake form, it's completely an invitation. So there are a good number of questions on there with my intention of I love to receive these forms and get a rough map of where you're at, where you've been, how you feel about it. I'm a follower of feelings. That's what I'm interested in. How you feel about it. And maybe just beginning to get comfortable and familiar with, what do I want? What am I doing this for? And again, like I said before, I did it for some like whatever guy, but also other reasons. You know, it's double down on whatever your motivations. They're perfect, they're important, they're potent, they're powerful. They are creating that traction, that movement of like, let's go, new life, let's go. Or the current life that you're living now in alignment so that you can show up, you can shine, you can feel so brilliant within your body, your mind, your being, your heart, your womb space. So it's all there. My name is Josephine K. Thank you for taking this journey with me. Thank you for being open, ready to explore. And as and when you're ready to go, I'm ready to go. So to finish off, this is something I love to do. Do it together should you wish to. So moving into myself, I take back what is mine. I take back what is mine. And I give back what is yours. And again, I take back what is mine and I give back what is yours. I take back what is mine and I give back what is yours. All is love, and so it is. So coming back into ourselves, coming back into our bodies, coming back into our space, noticing exactly what it is that is going to serve you best, noticing where you were when you realize that PMDD is not forever. The PMDD could be going, it could be gone, as and when, right now. So thank you so much again. Byjosephine.k on Instagram, and I'll speak to you soon.